once again, want to welcome you here today, and I want to welcome our Town of Taos Chief of Police, Rick Anglada. Come on up here and tell us how to be safe in our business. So let's give the Chief a big hand.
Well, thank you all for being here, and we've been trying to set up this meeting for quite some time to reach out quite a bit more to the business community. What I've handed out is a security checklist that will help businesses. I've got one for pharmacies as well. Anyone with a pharmacy here? You have a pharmacy checklist? Let me get you one back there. Well, just to let you know, the Taos Police, we've stepped up our community involvement in the last year and a half or so. Not sure if any of you follow Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, but we're on all three of those venues. It's as an avenue to get more community involvement, and we've really stepped it up. We're up to almost 2,700 followers on Facebook, and my idea with that was not only to put out great information to the community, but also to get the pulse of the community back to us. And my desire is to change communities' attitudes and perceptions of who the police are and what our function is, and to gain more of an understanding, but also to change my department's perception of the community's involvement. You know, we'll never have enough resources to do it on our own, so that's why we have to share that joint responsibility with each other. That's the only way that we're gonna solve more crimes that way, and we're also going to prevent more crimes. So what we've come up with is a security checklist that will help your businesses. And if you follow along with me, we'll start with alarms. In a year's time, we handle over 800 alarm calls a year, and I would say that 99% of those are false alarms. So that's a big drain on our resources, our manpower. You know, when we should be tying up our resources doing other positive things, catching criminals. And so we do have an alarm ordinance that allows for 2 false alarms per year, and since then no one has actually been fined for going over those 2. But you know, in response to having 800 false alarms a year, we've got to step that up and do something to protect the false alarms. So we're looking at tweaking our ordinance a little bit. We're looking at software that will account for all of those false alarms. So if you've got an alarm that is one of those that really sends out a false alarm, you may need to get that worked on so that you don't fall in that category. You may also, if you don't have a visual flashing light, you may also think about getting that as well, just to get our attention, especially at night. And nowadays, you know, the cars are built so they're soundproof, and if we've got our radio going and music, or and not only us but from the public as well, if they don't hear the alarm going off but they see a red flashing light, that's going to get someone else's attention. So that's something else to think about, is a visual alarm as well as audible. The alarmed areas, it gives you what to alarm. And skylights are great to have, but it's also a method of entry that's usually not covered by an alarm. And I know we have caught some skylight burglars in the past, but think about that if you do have skylights, even on your in your residence. So this can encompass your residence as well, not just your business. Sensor types, physical designs, moving down to locks and locking devices. Any people from lodgers here? Anyone with a hotel? No? Okay. Well, we've had issues with some of the hotel employees, with hotel staff issuing too many master keys. So then when they have a burglary from one of their rooms, it's hard to track down who's possibly responsible because they, all of their employees have a master key. So limit who you give a master key to. If you have a numbered system, or if you have a card swipe system that can keep track of each employee separately, that would surely help as well. So try to have key if you can. Moving over to physical barriers. I don't know if you've seen videos lately, but criminals are now using their vehicles as battering rams to crash through even bulletproof glass and steel doors. They'll back right through it as a quick way to get in. They're no longer trying to use just a simple crowbar or screwdriver or break a window to get in. They'll back their truck right through the building if they have to. So the use of concrete barriers and huge planters can help your business as well. It's great, moving down to videos, it's great to always have a video or a photograph, but many times the video is so out of focus that we can't make out who the suspect is. So, we'd like you to maybe zoom your camera in to get more of a facial shot than a full-length body view. I mean, it doesn't do us any good to have a full-length view of that person if we can't zero in and see their face. So if you have access, or call your security company to zero in that focus on the face, that will really help us to identify burglars a lot better. Many businesses have cameras way up high in the corner, like that one up there, but if someone comes in with a baseball cap, you don't see any facial features. You may see from here down, but that really doesn't help us. So if you can maybe somehow put a hidden camera where it will their facial features, think about that as well. Digital versus VHS. Of course, we all know that VHS is becoming a thing of the past, like the 8-tracks and cassettes. So I think we can still accommodate a VHS in our office if we have to, but usually we try to get a copy of your video for our purposes, but digital is really the way to go nowadays. And then if you have access to have like a dummy VHS tape, because burglars and armed robbers are getting smarter now to where they'll want to take the tape. It's great if you have a dummy tape to give them. That's if you do have a date stamp and time on your video system, make sure that that's the correct date and time. It's really hard for us when we have to go to court to prove that, well, this isn't the correct date, but it should have been this date. So that's something that's a little hard to overcome in court. So try to get that set right. There's many different types of systems. You can have one that starts with the event. If your business is broken into, it'll set the camera in motion, so it's not continuously running and using up space on your hard drive or tape or whatever system you have. Moving on to the back side. Trying to save paper, I use the front and back. The main thing that we want you and your staff to know is the most important goal in a robbery situation is to stay safe and not get anyone hurt. So the way to do that is to instruct your staff and teach them, actually seek out lessons if you can, to keep the robber as calm as possible, because they're going to go in wired up, just on edge. Any little movement may cause them to react. So your employee wants to keep them as calm as possible and assure them that they're going to cooperate in any manner. So the banks are really your best resource for that type of training, because they do it all the time. Banks are prepared better than anyone for an armed robbery situation. So if you have that rapport and relationship with a bank, which I'm sure you do, seek out training from them. We'll be glad to come in and help as well. But also have training for your staff. Who's going to be responsible for locking the doors once the robber goes out? Who's going to call the police? Who's going to start writing down the description? Have these assignments listed out right away so that it's not total chaos once the robber runs out the door. Everyone knows what to do instantaneous, and it really helps us out to come in and already know what to look for. And when that person the person that's trained to call 911, make sure it's someone that knows how to remain calm, and someone that knows how to give a description. And also teach your staff, right away to start looking at someone and describing from head to toe, hair color, eye color, complexion, shirt color, pants color, shoes. All of that helps us to eliminate other people. If you can get vehicle description, license plate is the best evidence that we can get. But if you can't get that, vehicle color, 2-door, 4-door, any kind of damage to the vehicle, bumper stickers, tinted windows or not, anything that helps us to easily pick that vehicle out from others is really beneficial to get the criminal right away. Afterwards, you should separate your employees so that they don't compare notes and stories and start to cause doubt in each other's eyes. So we'd rather hear separate stories from everyone rather than get them comparing notes and changing each other's mind about a certain description. So separate them if you can and get them all to start writing down a written statement. That really helps us out quite a bit. For preservation of evidence, to establish closing procedures, what really helps us is when we go in to dust for fingerprints or swab for DNA evidence, is that hopefully the only fingerprints that we're going to have or find on the door is the burglar's. So, wiping down the exit bars during closing time, wiping down countertops, just to sterilize the business really helps us to have to not come in and eliminate everybody else's fingerprints or everybody else's DNA. So just those little steps really help us quite a bit. So if you could develop that closing process and use it every day, never miss a day, it really helps us quite a bit. One of the things that we've also done to try to establish a better rapport in the community is we're doing more and more organization of neighborhood crime watch programs. So the more community that we have being our eyes and ears out there, we're really going to solve a lot more crimes. And in 2010 compared to 2009, our arrest rate for burglars went up by 85%, and that's really unheard of. Those are significant improvements. our shoplifting arrests went up by 220%. And that doesn't only mean that we're working smarter. Yes, crime has increased, but it's increased worldwide in our country, especially with our economy the way it is. There's a lot more shoplifting. But that's not because people are hungry, because most of the time they're not stealing food. They're stealing electronics. They're stealing makeup, things that they can sell to get money for drugs. So, you know, a lot of people want to blame the economy, which it does have something to do with that, but more often than not, it's to deal with their addiction, or just that the fact that they're lazy and they don't want to work. They'd rather steal from everyone else. Again, if you need more of these, or if your neighboring business needs one, we have them available that we can email out. Let me get you to write down my phone number and my email address. If you have any other questions or suggestions, my phone number is 770-6110. My email address is ranglada at taosgov.com. And also get together with your neighboring businesses and work well together. You know, there's nothing better than to know who your neighbors are, not only where you live but where you work. Look out for each other as well. If you're going to be gone, if you have to close shop for an hour for lunch or for some other appointment, let them know. That way they can help watch your business, you know, help watch their business as well. Any questions on that part so far? Yes, sir.
What areas are you seeing in the business community that are if targeted is the right word, that are being targeted? Is there a thread or a trend right now in criminal activity and burglaries and things like that in any given business sector?
There really is no set pattern, which is why we're reaching out to establish that rapport and that relationship with everyone.
Watch or neighborhood watch, is there something that the businesses can do collectively that might be, you know, I'd hate to think that you're getting calls where you don't need them. You know, somebody suspicious is in the parking lot, but are you looking for that kind of information as well?
Well, we are. In fact, Lieutenant Maggio, I'm going to have him speak a little bit about another program that we're working jointly with APD and other agencies across the state with the business community, where we share a lot of information because, as I said, burglars and thieves don't have jurisdictions, so they'll move from city to city, town to town, and cause or be involved in criminal activity there as well. So there's a lot of information being shared amongst some of the big corporations like Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, Walgreens, where they share a lot of photos and videos of people that hit their stores. They spread that around where businesses will know who to look out for. So there's a lot of that going on, and we're trying to incorporate some of that up here. So you can see more of that coming in the future. Well, mostly people call our main dispatch number, which is 758-2216. That's the main line. But if you see a crime occurring, 911 to me that's an emergency. Is a crime occurring? So it's not really that big of a factor if you suspicious activity to call 911. That gets the dispatcher's attention that much quicker, but it all goes to the same place. But we try to reserve the 911 line for like a life or death situation, but I wouldn't discourage someone to not calling 911 for suspicious activity or burglary in progress or anything like that.
The form that you have there, if you email that to me, I'd be happy to email it out to our membership so they can all have access to that.